me mark down for you just the 3 points of contact. The first one is your heel. So when you're striking with your normal gait, that's where you're contacting with the heel. And then on the ball of the foot is where the other 2 points are. So here's your metatarsal head. And then there's the first metatarsal right there. So those 2 points up top, those create the transverse arch, which is when we squeeze, does that. You can see that kind of spreads the toes. So that's that gripping that we should have. So in our society, we have comforts such as shoes, and we have flat surfaces. But with comforts come curses, and one of those curses is weakness. So the foot is weak, and with the heel striking, the hip flexor gets weak because it's not needed to guide the strike. It's not needed to work, so it becomes weak. And that's where we see so many hips coming forward, which in turn also flattens the arch too. So there's a lot going on with the foot. That's why we start here as the first step to help create a strong foundation. So transverse arch is one of the 3 arches. So that's what's squeezing there. And we're also squeezing here too. So from the heel down. So all 3 of those points are kind of converging on each other. We're not bunching the foot like this with our hand. We're not doing that. We're doing this. So if you watched any foundation training videos, you know he'll make a sphere of tension. So it's a widening and then it's a pressure. Because here I can only squeeze so much without bunching. So you should never feel like you should be able to flatten one side of the foot down. Most of us, we tend to be on the outside of the foot, so we're losing that natural lateral arch that we should have. And orthotics are great, and we have Mojo Feet orthotics at our office. And even he says that the whole idea is to eventually get you away from orthotics because it is support. It's like lumbar support. Over time it shows the more we use lumbar support, actually the more degeneration and problems we'll have develop in the lumbar spine because the muscles can quit. They can take the day off because there's something else doing their job. And that's what we're dealing with the feet. So think about 10, 20 years throughout your life, however old you are, of not being able to use your feet right or even ever learning. In our culture now, kids are just never getting out, getting barefoot, getting to grab the ground anymore. So they're never really set up how to move naturally or move right, even from the beginning. So those are our 3 points of contact. Heel, first, pinky toe, ball of the foot, and here. And you'll notice in a lot of my videos, I'm also getting the toes down. So I'm getting the ball down too, but also then the toes, grabbing like that. So the toes are in contact with the ground, just gripping. And you notice that with a lot of our stances, that will just happen naturally, the way we're placing our weight more into the heel. That'll help our foot naturally grab as it should. We also get a lot of restriction. And what I want you to feel, and get this foot out of the way. And as a chiropractor, always working on feet, here, whether we have the retinaculum, but also a lot of tendons coming in, is always very crunchy, just jammed down. So we're always trying to pull it, open it up. What you should feel is when you're doing this exercise, the opening of that joint. You'll feel the same thing with the sphere of tension. These 2 things, end of your extremities, mirror each other. So when we're pressing here or squeezing, you feel that wrist joint open up. Same thing's happening there in the ankle as you're pressing off the ground. Not only you're lifting, placing your hips in the socket, lifting your whole spine up, but you're also opening this ankle joint up. And that's really going to help you in the long run to absorb the shock from the ground. Use the arch to absorb the shock of the ground. Because if your foot is absorbing the shock, that's going to save your knees and your hips. Now our shoes and the cushion absorb that shock, but it's still getting transferred. So we want the foot to take it where it should. Because if muscles are taking shock, they get stronger over time. If the joints are taking the shock, they degenerate, they harden, they stiffen, they get inflamed, they get angry because that's not their job. It's the muscle's job to absorb the shock, not the joint tissue.